Hello and welcome to our daily learning video for today. Today's letter of the day is the letter S. Letter S looks like this. Can you say S? S. Well, if your name has an S, stand up. If your name has an S, stand up. Sue, your name has an S. If your name has an S, if your name has an S, if your name has an S, stand up. Well, S is for Sue. Thank you, Sue, for standing. And I think, Sue, we're going to learn about the senses today. S is for the senses. And our senses are seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, and feeling or touching. Thanks, Sue. You can have a seat now. So we're going to decorate our letter S with all those things that Sue was showing us. I just cut pictures from magazines showing eyes and noses and mouths and ears and hands. So these are body parts that help us with our 5 senses, like seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. Well, now that we have decorated our letter S, we know the name of this letter. We're going to do some handwriting and write the letter S. Letter S looks like a snake. Let me show you. Looks like it slithers this way and that way. I'll put a little tongue on there. So that's how you make the letter S. I'm going to show you another way to remember how to write S. You just make a forward C, turn around, and make a backward C. It's a little bit easier to see on the handwriting house because you can make that forward C upstairs and then make that backward C downstairs. So forward and back, forward and turn around and go back, forward and back, forward C and back. When you think of it that way, it helps you to start your S off the right way. Because the main problem that I see or have seen through the years is students wanting to start with a backward C and then the forward C. And so to help you, just remember it's a forward C and then go backwards. So just make a letter C and then turn around and make a backward C. Forward and back, forward and back. So that's an uppercase letter S. And if you look at the card, you'll see that the little S looks just like the big S. So we're just going to go forward and back, just a little bit smaller. Forward and back, like a little tiny snake this time. On the handwriting house, this has to go downstairs because this is a little letter. So go forward and turn around and go back, all downstairs. Forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, downstairs. So there you have it. That's the little S. I'm going to cheer for you with my sparkly. S is for sparkly pom-pom. So here you go. Great job on your handwriting. And I'm sending you a sticker, a star sticker, which also starts with letter S. Well, now that we can write the letter S and we know what it looks like, let's talk about the sound that letter S makes. Letter S makes the sound S. Hey, it looks like a snake and it sounds like a snake. S. Can you make that sound? Letter S says S, like a snake. Do your hand like this, backward and forward, S, like a slithering snake. Well, one of your 5 senses is your sense of taste, and we use our tongue for tasting. And there's some letter S things on this tongue that can help us to practice that letter S sound. The first one is at the bottom of the tongue, and that says sweet. And the very tip of our tongue tastes things that are sweet. That's why when you eat an ice cream, you lick it usually with the tip of your tongue, because that's the part of your tongue that can taste yummy sweet ice cream. Do you see something else that's sweet on this page? Is the strawberry, lemon, olive, or pretzel sweet? The strawberry is sweet. So we'll glue that right there. If you want this worksheet and all the worksheets we do every day, you can get them. There will be a link below. Also, the weekly lesson plan is at the week below, so you can follow along with all the things we're doing. The next letter S word I see is right here. This part of your tongue can taste things that are salty. Can you find something that's salty? The pretzel is salty. I even see some salt sprinkled on there. Now I see another letter S, sour. That's what that part of the tongue can taste, sour things. What's something that you can see here that's sour? The lemon is definitely sour. The very, very back of your tongue can taste things that are bitter. And an olive, a plain olive without all the salt, is bitter. So S is for sweet and salty and sour, and that's what letter S says. Well, we're going to do some blending with the letter S. And can you remember what the vowels are? Vowels are A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. These are the vowels. Well, we've already learned these vowels. Later this week, actually, we're going to add that letter U. But for today, let's just put an S by each of these vowels. And let's see if we can blend the sounds together. We know what letter S says. S. Do you remember what letter A says? Ah. So let's put these sounds together. S, ah, sa, sa, like sad, but I'm not sad. I'm actually very happy because you're doing a great job blending. The next one is letter E. And what does letter E say, Sunny? E's like an ear, and E says, eh? What'd you say? Eh? Well, let's blend. S, eh, se, se. Let me set my glasses down and get my lollipop. That's what letter I looks like, a lollipop. And I'm going to use my tongue to lick the lollipop because a lollipop is sweet and the tip of my tongue is what can taste sweet. But sometimes when I lick and lick and lick my lollipop, it makes me sticky. Ew, I'm sticky. A lollipop sometimes makes you sticky and icky. I says, eh. So let's blend. S, eh, sit, sit, like sit down. Now, the last one is letter O, and O has a sore throat and says, ah. So let's blend. S, ah, saw, saw, like soft. And you use your hands to feel something that is soft. That's one of your senses. Well, you did a great job blending today. I'm going to send you another sticker. Great work. That was our letter of the day time. And now it's time for some math. So we've been working on the number 10. So let me show you how to make a number 10. To make a number 10, you just need a 1 and a 0. So write a number 1, and then beside it, a number 0, and you have the number 10. You need to be able to recognize the number, just like we recognize the letters. This is number 10, and now we're going to practice writing number 10. So to write the number 10, you just need to make a number 1, and then beside it, a 0. 1, 0. That's number 10. 1, 0. 1, 0. That is the number 10. And now we're going to move on and do our color for today. Can you guess what colors mixed together would make gray? What 2 colors could I mix together and make the color gray? Let's find out. Okay, so I have some white paint right here. Let me just put some on this paper. Okay. And now I have some black paint right here in this cup. So let me get a little bit of this black paint and watch with your eyes and see what happens when we mix the black and the white. Oh, ta-da! Just like a magic trick, black and white make gray. Wow, look at that. I'm using my eyes to see that, and our eyes help us to see. That's one of our 5 senses. Wow, that looks really cool. Well, I want to teach you how to spell the color gray. That's the color we're working on this week. G-R-A-Y spells gray. G-R-A-Y spells gray. Hi-ho, did you know? G-R-A-Y spells gray. Elephants are gray. Dolphins are gray too. Hi-ho, did you know? G-R-A-Y spells gray. Good job. Well, our shape for this week is the one that has 8 sides. Do you remember what shape has 8 sides? It's an octagon. Let's write the number 8. We start by, hey, making a letter S. That's what we learned today. And then you're just going to close up this circle and close up this side, this circle on this side, and then you have a number 8. Well, an octagon has 8 sides. Let's trace and count. Remember, you can get this paper too. The link will be below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. An octagon has 8 sides. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll let you finish the last one for homework if you'd like to. And now it's time for art. We're going to be making a Mr. Potato Head to help us practice the 5 senses. So let's head to the art table. Okay, so let's make a Mr. Potato Head. You can get a copy of this sheet. The link is below, but you could also very easily draw some of these eyes and nose and mouth. All of these things are pretty easy to draw. There's a potato head on here, but I actually just cut out a potato from brown paper. Now, the next thing you can do is just decide which eyes you want to choose. There are several choices. I picked these eyes, and then you can cut out the nose you'd like to use and just glue that on there, and the mouth. There were several choices for the mouth that you can pick, and then also ears, and you can color these too if you'd like, and some hands. And there you have it. And I'm going to practice. Let's use this to practice our 5 senses. We use our eyes to see. We use our ears to hear, our nose to smell, our hands to touch or feel, and our mouth and tongue to taste. I think I'm going to add some feet on my Mr. Potato Head just to make him look even cuter. So that was our art project for today. A great Mr. Potato Head for practicing the senses. For science today, we're going to talk about the senses. Let's take a look at this slideshow. There are 5 senses: the sense of sight, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. And we use some body parts. God made us really cool. He made us with body parts that help us to learn about the world around us. That's what our senses do. They learn about the world around us. So God made our eyes so we could see. God made our ears so we could hear. God made our noses so we could smell. God made our mouths so we could taste. And God made our fingers and hands so we could touch or feel. Have you ever heard this song? Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. For the Father up above is looking down with love. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. And then have you heard this one about our ears? Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful, little ears, what you hear. And now how about taste? Oh, be careful, little mouth, what you taste. Oh, be careful, little mouth, what you taste. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful, little mouth, what you taste. And also what you say with your mouth. We should be careful. How about your hands? Oh, be careful, little hands, what you touch. Oh, be careful, little hands, what you touch. For the Father up above is looking down in love. Oh, be careful, little hands, what you touch. So that's just a fun little game and a song. And now I want to play a game. I'm going to show you some pictures, and I want you to tell me the body part that's used in the picture. So let's do that. Let's try that together. So remember, you're going to tell me the body part: eyes, nose, mouth, ears, or hand, or nose. Did I say nose? All right, so which body part is she using? She's using her nose to smell. Which body part is he using? He's using his tongue or mouth to taste. Ice cream. Which body part is she using? She's using her ear to hear. Which body part is he using or she using? She's using her hand to touch. And which body part is he using? He's using his eyes to see. Good job. Well, in our story today, there is a bull, and he's going to use his nose to smell. Let's read the story of Ferdinand together. The story of Ferdinand is by Monroe Leaf. Monroe Leaf. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head? She would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it better here, where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. But not Ferdinand. He still just liked to sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. Well, one day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, toughest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting and leaping and jumping so the men would think they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care, so he went out to his favorite cork tree and sat down. But he didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on a nice cool piece of grass in the shade, he sat down on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? you would sting him, and that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Yow! Did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was! Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. Doo, 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 doo. First came the men with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadors who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword. He was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the men were afraid of him. The picadors were afraid, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran into the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw all the flowers in the lovely lady's hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the men were mad. The picadors even madder. And the matador was so mad that he cried because he couldn't show off his cape and his sword. Boo-hoo-hoo. So they had to take Ferdinand back home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still today under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. And he is very happy. The end. Well, what did Ferdinand use for smelling the flowers? He used his nose. What did he use, or what do you use for seeing? We use our eyes. What do you use for hearing? We use our ears for hearing. And what do you use for tasting? You use your tongue and your mouth for tasting. What do you use for feeling or touching? You use your hand for feeling or touching. That's right, Sue. And that's right. You did a good job too. Well, we'll see you next time, right, Sue? Goodbye, everyone. Have a super day today. See you later.